Yes. So, hi, hello, and welcome. This is Aishwarya from Digital Aish, and I'm welcoming you all to my brand new video series, Spotlight. So, in this session, I'm going to be talking to a lot of young achievers, I should say, and this is exclusively for the school going children and, of course, parents if should their kids be aspiring to take any specific career path, because I'm going to be talking to a lot of people who are actually biting the bullet and also achieved in the same field, so they know what to expect, and this is first hand information that you can receive from them. Great. On that note, this is my very first session and I'm going to be talking to an ace tennis player today, Anirudh Chandrasekhar. Hi, Anirudh.
Hi, Shurya. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too, thanks.
Thank you so much. Actually, I have to give a brief introduction about him. Anirudh holds three international doubles titles and multiple singles and double titles at the national level. So, when I'm talking of Anirudh Chandrasekhar, I have to mention another name here, which is PC Vignesh, who happens to be his coach and his own elder brother. So, it is like living with his coach, seeing him and growing up with him. His inspiration probably begins at home. And I know a little too much about these guys because they happen to be my cousins. Great. So let's start. So tell me about your journey. Probably I'll ask you about where it all started. When did you start playing tennis?
So basically, as a kid, all the kids have a lot of passions and hobbies to do in their childhood. They are not really sure about what they want to do. They just want to do every single thing they have to see. And for me, it started off with cricket. So I was passionate about cricket initially. So I
Hmm.
started off playing cricket, and then I went for about a year and a half or so. And then eventually, I went for a tournament where my brother was playing. So he ended up winning the tournament, and that's when as I saw him lift the trophy, I like that's when I also wanted something like that, and I just forced my parents to just put me into tennis. I didn't want to play cricket anymore,
Hmm.
and along with my parents, my brother was also supportive with that, and we just started off with tennis. I started it as a hobby, and
Oh.
uh, and it was I was in love with the sport as soon as I saw like how my brother was playing. So then I just kept going for practice day in and day out, every day, just enjoying the field, being around with friends. And then eventually, after like 5, 6 years of playing, I had to take a call whether I had to get into studies or play tennis. So that's when my brother and my parents had a big argument where my brother wanted me to play tennis because he saw the potential in me, and my parents were also really supportive with that decision, and they just helped me pursue my dream, and that's how it all started. And at the age of 14, I started to take it more professionally.
Professional. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Actually, that was my second question. You said choice between studies and sports, but I know
Yeah.
you did both. So
Mhm.
my second question is, whenever I came there for my vacation, or whenever I saw you guys, you used to come back from school, probably gulp down something really quickly, drop your school bags, pick your kids, and go off for practice. I've seen you as early risers. And how is it managing school and tennis simultaneously? So can you give
So
some idea there, throw some light in
the,
that area?
the best part about playing a sport is it teaches you a lot of discipline.
Hmm.
So once you know you're taking that as a career, so you eventually develop this habit of being more disciplined in whatever you do. So that's how you manage studies and sports. And trust me, the guys and the girls who play sports are also good in studies. They don't give up on their studies. So it's very important for a player in any sport to take up their studies and finish at least to the point of their graduation, because you need something to fall back upon. It's you're not, and this is a field where you're not really sure if you're going to make it or not. I mean, big
I
in
understand.
as a career, you're not really sure if you can make it. So that's when you'll have to. So I was also disciplined in that way, and I had my brother supporting me. So we would do it together, and it worked out well. And that's how I was also had to make sure I'm in it throughout all the way.
I understand. So, like, I know you've been traveling around, you've traveled to a lot of countries. So, is there any tournament specifically you'll have to play like, is there any levels, level 1, level 2, level 3 you'll have to complete? What are the tournaments one could play at school level? And is there any ranking system? Can you give us some insights on that?
So once a player reaches a certain level, when he knows he's ready for playing matches, you start off slowly with the state level tournaments where you compete with guys among your age group and in from the state. And once you get better in the state, you can push yourself to go to the national level and compete in tournaments all over India. They have different level of tournaments, and each tournaments have like you have an under 12 tournament, under 14 tournament, till under 18, and then eventually you move on to men's. So there's after under 18, there's no age limit. So you move on to men's, you keep playing national tournaments, you develop a national ranking with that. So once you get higher up in the rankings, you have an opportunity of moving to the international level where you play the first level is the futures level in the international. In the international, you have like 4 levels. So in the futures, you have $15,000 and the $25,000 tournaments for men's.
Mm-hmm.
So you play those, develop a ranking till a certain stage. After that, you move on to the challenger level. The challenger level is a higher level where most of the top guys play in that as well. So there you need to set yourself like you need to be competitive enough to hang on there and move up the ladder. And once you crack that level, you move on to the ATP level, the World Tour level, where you play the Grand Slams and all the Masters events and the Olympics and all of that. So that's how it's a gradual process. You can't really shoot up in the rankings at once. It's a process where you have to go through the grind day in and day out, keep traveling for tournaments week in and week out, and that's how you make it to the top.
Brilliant. Yeah, I've seen you guys traveling. I don't know. I think the amount of days you stayed home was very less compared to the days when you used to travel.
Yeah.
And so we're discussing a lot about sports now, specifically tennis. So when I'm talking about this, there is another topic which goes hand in hand, which is your fitness. So fitness, which means fitness is exercise and your food. So right now your exercise and food is different from what it was in your school level or in your college level. So can you give us some inputs there, like how was it, how many hours of workout, or what was the food intake while you were at school, and then can you just throw some light in that area?
So when first I'll go to the nutrition topic, the food. When kids are young, they like to just hog on the junk and eat all the right food and all of the sweets and stuff. So it was the same case with me when I was in school, and when I was till the age of 14, 15, I was also the same, eating all the junk possible. But then after a certain point, that food doesn't really help you build muscle or gain endurance or get the necessary nutrients for your body, the supplements for your body. So you need to, at that particular time, you need to make sure you eat right, eat healthy, and you can treat yourself often, once in a week probably, but
cheat days.
Okay. The cheat day is also a wrong
word
because it's a cheat meal. You can have you can have a meal.
One meal.
That's it. So you make sure you eat healthy and eat the right kind of they call a balanced diet. You need to have a balanced diet with the right amount of proteins, carbohydrates, so that you can sustain on court for the number of hours, because matches are physically very demanding. So you need to make sure your body sustains that level of intensity. So you need to eat properly. So the best thing to do is consult a nutritionist, where they plan out a diet for you, because rather than Brahmin food is one food where you just can't play a sport eating that kind of food, because it's way too much fat oriented, carbohydrates and fat oriented, and protein content is kind of less. So you need to plan it out with the nutritionist and go ahead about it. And then coming to fitness, as I said earlier, tennis is a very physically and mentally demanding sport. So you need to make sure your body is in the right shape for you to sustain the intensity, as I said earlier. So fitness wise, first thing, we play tennis, which is for about 3 hours, and we do fitness, which is for about 2 hours. That has to go on every day. So 5 hours of workout every single day for 6 days a week. Sunday is an off day.
Which is right now.
Yeah, which is right now. Yes.
And back in school, how was your workout schedules like? When
I was in school, I would. My school was supporting me with going like missing classes and stuff like
Classes
that.
and participating in tournaments and all of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So I would go in the mornings at around like 7 o'clock
Hmm.
to the tennis court, play tennis, do my fitness there. I would miss the first period in school
Wow.
and go to school at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
And then I would come back at 2 o'clock. That's when my school finishes at 2.
Hmm.
And then I take a little bit of rest. And 3:30, I'm back on court again,
Oh, too
playing
much
my
of
tennis.
dedication. 7 in the court, 9 in the school, 3 at home, 4 at court, and back home. Oh my God. Quite a routine.
But
Yeah.
at that age, a child when he's
I was about to
very
ask you that.
enthusiastic, they have that energy to do that.
Energy to do it. It's about the passion, no? To
Right.
just learn, grow, and shine. Totally get it. Awesome. We spoke a lot of physical fitness. So one question I wanted to ask you was about mental fitness. Mental fitness, Prince Solomon, about as a child, see when you're in a certain level now. But as a school going kid, when you're playing a lot of tournaments, you tend to see both success and failures, right? So consecutive when you see failures or a tournament, how was your that mental stability? How did you take it? Like was there somebody who said no, you're not supposed to stop? How did you actually manage it? So that is definitely going to help many. That tip which you're
Yeah.
going to give. Yeah.
It's a very tough thing, because when you have a lot of failures coming one after the other, for you mentally to stay motivated and again go with the process is tough. And tennis is one sport where you lose more than you win. That's the statistics prove that a player in his career has lost more than he's won. So you need to have the right kind of people around you. You need to surround yourself with the positive people around you, and they keep pushing you. So you need to make sure you create a very positive environment at home and with your friends as well. So that's very important for a child. You need to pick the right kind of friends, pick the right kind of people, so that they support you
Mentors.
and they keep you motivated throughout. And again, there'll be points where the child feels, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Then you'll have to respect the child's decision. But if he's very passionate, if he or she is very passionate about that sport, you need to make sure you supply the child with all the right kind of thoughts and the resources, so that they can pursue it and keep going and find themselves victorious in the future.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so on a lighter note, who is your favorite tennis player?
It's Rafael Nadal. He's from
Yeah.
Spain, and he's one of my biggest inspirations, because he's the grind he's gone through is amazing. I've read it in his book, and I've seen him play for such a long time now that for me, he's one of the best players.
I know. And that's where your left hand inspiration comes from.
That was actually a mistake. I'm a 95% right hand dominant. I play only tennis with my left. So it was a misunderstanding, because initially when I was playing cricket, my brother, I used to play, I used to bat with my left hand. So my brother thought, and my brother took the call of putting me in play tennis in left.
With the left hand.
Yeah, so he thought I was a lefty, and he was busy with his own career, so he didn't really pay much attention to my day-to-day activities. So he thought I was a lefty, and he put me into tennis in left, and later on he figured out that I was a righty. So, but once you keep doing something with one hand, you get better at it. For such a long time you do it, you get better at it. So it doesn't really hamper me right now.
I understand. Awesome. Great. So what would be those 3 tips that you would like to share with aspiring tennis players around, and what to expect, and what are the 3 tips, and what should we be prepared for?
Okay, the first and the most important tip would be to be ready to make sacrifices when you're choosing the sport. So you can't have all the luxury around you. You can't be in your comfort zone. You need to just move out of your comfort zone and make sure you sacrifice and dedicate yourself to the sport day in and day out. No matter the result, you'll have to go through the process, and you'll have to do it day after day. So that's one of the most important things. The second thing is surround yourself with the right people who motivate you and who keep you positive throughout, if you're really considering choosing the sport. And the third and the most important thing, along with the other two, is you need to when a parent is taking the decision of putting the child into the sport, they need to back the child completely. They need to trust the child completely. So you can't really put a child half-heartedly in the sport.
Mm.
You need to make sure uh, they are funding the child properly. They are giving the child enough time and letting the child prove.
Mm. I
So that's
understand.
hmm.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Srinath. Thank you. Sorry, I called you by your home name. Yeah, so thank you so much, Anirudh. Wonderful talking to you.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people who are aspiring tennis players too.
Yeah,
And should anybody have any doubts, you can drop a comment below this video, or you can write to me at digitalice7@gmail.com, and I will make sure your questions reach Anirudh and he will reply back to you. Right?
yeah, perfect. I'm all in for that.
Yes, cool. Thank you so much. Nice
Thank you
talking
for
to
having.
you.
Nice talking to you as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you
So
so much. Have a nice evening.
yeah, have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye bye.